Freshman year of college, the year of many firsts. The first time being away from home, the first time choosing classes that you want to take, and for many, the first time having complete free will over diet and lifestyle choices. When many first-year students are greeted by their university's beautiful campus, all are eventually drawn into the nearest dining hall. Most campus cafeterias are set up in a buffet style, where students typically have free reign over what goes on and how much goes on their plate. Because new students no longer have their mothers on their back about finishing their vegetables, freshmen are inclined to consume what looks best, even if it's not the best for their health. Because of the numerous cases concerning changes in health during the first year away at school, the weight change experienced by freshmen has become known to be the freshman 15. Is the weight change significant? Do students realize what's happening? Are there ways to prevent such drastic changes in such a short time? Explore all of these questions with me, Megan Alexander, on Fallacies of the Freshman 15. Okay, so I'm sure everyone has heard about the Freshman 15. It's the weight that most college students are told to expect to gain during the first few months away at school. But what is it and where does it come from? As mentioned before, the Freshman 15 stems from the changes in lifestyle patterns as new students adjust to the college life. With as much junk food available at a student's disposal as most campuses offer, it makes sense that these students may gorge themselves on pizza and french fries like they never have had before, since they no longer have someone dictating their diet. Do students really care about putting on a few extra pounds, or do they just grin and bear it? According to a study conducted by Nicole Mihalopoulos, in 2006 alone, there were nearly 230,000 links on the internet that were loaded with tips and tricks to avoid the Freshman 15. With that many websites created nearly 10 years ago, it seems probable that these 18-year-olds are worried about what's to come. But when it comes down to it, does the Freshman 15 really exist? A study conducted by Susan Reset showed otherwise. In Reset's changes in weight and health behaviors from freshman through senior year of college, she investigated the question of the Freshman 15 at a private university in Missouri. After following 138 females and 66 males and tracking their heights and weights before the school year started and after for the first semester, she found that the average weight increase during the first semester of college was only 4.19 pounds. So the Freshman 15 is nothing, right? Actually, Reset's study was longitudinal over all 4 years, so that might lead to a different answer. She periodically measured their heights and weights throughout their time at the university and after graduation compared results. Overall, the average weight gain during college was found to be 5.51 pounds plus or minus 11.68 pounds. While the deviation varies, the weight gain throughout the average college student's career most likely would be 15 or more pounds. Next, we'll discuss where the weight change comes from. So at this point, we get it. Students have different options for food while they are away at college. The food isn't always the healthiest, and students gain weight. But the idea of the Freshman 15 is a little more than just that. It isn't always a case of students wanting to gorge themselves on junk. In fact, some students have no other choice but to eat junk. An interview conducted by Lindsay Reading explained how some students pick and choose between food options offered on campus. As she explained, most students struggle between convenience and options available, with such hectic schedules going from class to class, extracurricular activities, and participating in on-campus events. The most easily accessible foods tend to be junk. While students may have good intentions of wanting to trade potato chips for carrot sticks or chicken nuggets for a Caesar salad, there's a flaw in the scheduling that limits the options that students have. What else contributes to the Freshman 15? I was able to learn more factors of it from Nurse Alice of Bellarmine University. Nurse Alice has been working on this campus for almost 20 years and has seen her fair share of students who have struggled with gaining weight during their first semester away. Here are some of the things that she had to say during my interview with her.
But then some people are smart about it and they don't at all. But I would say that there's so many things that go towards that happening that are just a good recipe for that happening. Their activity level changing and then being stressed out and thinking, I have other priorities now, I don't need to be exercising.
Okay.
And then their diet changes. We tend to, when students come to college and they're freshmen and they're stressed out, they tend to think that things that are most important are things that they can wait until later, and that would be exercise, making sure they have a good diet, stress management, and sleep. They
Oh,
think
yeah.
everybody's been taught, well, you don't sleep, nobody sleeps. Everybody stays up till 2 o'clock in the morning and nobody sleeps well. And that's just a huge issue. It also does make, it is involved in a weight gain. But a lot of the reason that they gain the weight is also because if they were athletes in high school, they're not now. And they don't think, well, then I shouldn't eat as much. Nobody does. That's why people gain a lot of weight either when they graduate high school or when they graduate college, because their activity level decreases a lot, but nobody ever changes their eating habits to match that.
The factor that stood out most to me was how numerous high school athletes no longer participate in sports in college. Because these students aren't burning as many calories as they were before, they don't need to consume as many anymore. Because most students aren't aware of this and therefore continue to eat similar amounts of food, gaining weight is an inevitable situation. Not only that, but the lack of participation in physical activity is also contributing to the problem. As mentioned before, the switch to the college life introduces new routines for students to get accustomed to. It's not easy for students to find a set time to dedicate to working out, especially if they don't have the motivation to do so themselves. Now, it might be easy to think, oh, it's just a few extra pounds. It'll be easy to lose later. Is that really the case? Stick around to find out. So to recap what we've discussed before, first-time college students are busy adjusting to their new lives away from home. They're getting the chance to eat more of what they want when they want it. Calories are being consumed faster than they're being burned. Even with all that in consideration, the weight gain during the college experience is roughly 5 pounds. So the freshman 15 isn't anything to worry about, right? Actually, the changes in lifestyle patterns can follow students down the line, even after graduation. Here's what Nurse Alice had to say about the topic.
Last question. Do you think that students who disregard their health throughout their college years will have significantly higher health problems in the future? What types of problems do you think can occur?
Yes, I do. And the earlier we start these habits, the better. And we're into this instant gratification thing, and when it comes to changing a habit, if we can't do it overnight, we don't want to do it. We just say, well, I'm a failure, I can't do it, and we don't even try.
Okay.
So that's a problem. And I mean, you just see it all the time that Americans will not be as active, gain weight. I'd say I can do that when I'm 30, and they
always just push
don't
everything off.
They keep pushing everything off, and we see it all the time that people they don't develop the healthy habits early, and then they never do. So
Okay.
it's never too late, and sometimes people do, but
Treating potential weight gain tends to be something that adults put to the side as a task that can always be done later. Because of the lack of attention to the issue, not caring about gaining 3 pounds may turn into not caring about 6, which can turn into 12, and so on. As she had mentioned, it is so much easier to prevent the excess weight from happening now rather than trying to get rid of it later. If students were to take a more active role in treating their bodies right during this time of rapid change and independence, the freshman 15 might have never existed. It shouldn't be so hard to do either. At some universities, fitness centers offer group classes such as Pilates, cycling, or aerobics that come with set dates and times. Finding a class or two that fits into your schedule and sticking to it is a great way to stay in shape. Another is a tip that Nurse Alice offered me. She suggested that when it's time for lunch, eat what I should and then what I want.
Think about, I have a rule for myself, eat when I should and then what I want. So every time I go to UDH, for instance, I get a salad, then I get a plate of vegetables, then I eat whatever I want.
Okay.
And what happens with that is I get partially full on that. And so let's say the best thing when I go there, I smell the pizza and I think, wow, I really want pizza. If I go straight for the pizza, I could eat 4 pieces. But if I do the eat what you should and then what you want, I'll eat a reasonable 1 piece of pizza after I eat all of that.
So getting full off of the good stuff and getting to have a slice of pizza? Not a bad deal. Now, it might not always be easy to sit down and enjoy a quality meal, especially for students who are constantly on the go. A suggestion from Reading's podcast was a great one. She said that students should try to pack healthy snacks from their dorm to bring to class rather than buying a bag of potato chips on their way. Replacing the junk for a healthy substitute can help students avoid eating empty calories that won't give them the energy that they need to get throughout the day. Another suggestion for avoiding the freshman 15 is something that is currently being applied to college campuses for the professors and faculty at Bellarmine University. Weight Watchers is a program that started in the 1960s to encourage friends to work together to lose weight. At Bellarmine University, the program has been in place for roughly 10 years. Lynn Bynum, the Chief Human Resources Officer at Bellarmine University, was able to give me a few words about the program. In an interview, she told me that the Weight Watchers program on our campus gives its participants a 50% reimbursement upon completion of the program. Bynum said that Weight Watchers has been a very positive program for the employees, who have lost hundreds of pounds over the years and kept the weight off, all in the convenience of it being on campus. While the program is only offered to the staff here, imagine if it spread to college students who are looking for another outlet to work away the excess weight expected to be gained throughout college. The more options that students have, the better chance of avoiding the freshman 15. The freshman 15 isn't initially as bad as most students think. However, the poor changes in diet and exercise can follow students down the road and lead to adverse health effects after graduation. So long as students start making a more active role in working positively with their bodies, making simple changes to avoid empty calories, and participate in programs that their campus offers, the freshman 15 can be a thing of the past. This has been Megan Alexander signing off from Fallacies of the Freshman 15.